What's up, Marines, future Marines, and other jealous service members? My name is David Perret, and I host the Military Millionaire Community, which is a community dedicated to helping service members, veterans, and their families learn how to build wealth through real estate investing, entrepreneurship, personal finance. So if you want to learn how to take your paycheck and make it worth more, just subscribe to the channel, check out some of the other videos. But today we are talking about the pros and cons of becoming a Marine in 2020, or really in any year. So stay tuned because this is going to be a really interesting video. I am uniquely qualified to talk about this because I spent 3 years as a recruiter for the Marine Corps, meaning that I have seen the ins, the outs, the ups, the downs, and everything there is to know about recruiting and enlisting future Marines. I have also gotten to work with all of the other services, so I'm pretty familiar with a lot of their stuff, and I have about 12 years time in service in the Marine Corps active duty, and I'm still active duty. So not only have I seen a broad spectrum of the Marine Corps, from overseas to combat deployments to active duty to working with the reserves to working with Australia, New Zealand, Thailand, Italy, whatever, like you name it, foreign services, good and bad, enemy, whatever. I kind of seen a little bit around the block, right? And so I have a unique perspective on this, and I also deal with helping people who got out of the military and wish that they had stayed in financially, or helping people choose between branches. Now, this video is about the Marine Corps, but I think joining the military in general is a great opportunity. Now, we're gonna jump right in. So here's my intro. First, I want to talk to you about why I joined the Marine Corps, right? Now, I grew up, well, I was born in California, but I grew up in Little Rock, Arkansas, a little tiny town outside Little Rock called Roland. And I was, I was looking to do what I wanted to do coming out of high school. I was trying to figure all that out, right? As everybody does. Oh, what are you going to do with your life? I have no freaking idea. I'm 16, 17, 18, like no clue. So as I'm trying to figure out what I want to do, I was looking at firefighter, I was looking at police officer, I was looking at all these blue collar, like heroic type things, because I didn't really want to go to college, right? I didn't have money to go to school. I didn't know what I wanted to study. I didn't like school in general. I wasn't a great student. In fact, it's funny that I'm, writing books and stuff like that now because I failed an English class, like was not a good student. It is what it is. And ultimately, I joined the Marine Corps because it offered some things that the other services didn't. And these are intangible things, because on the tangible end, all the services offer virtually the same thing tangibly as far as education, pay, benefits, whatever. But there are some intangibles that the Marine Corps offers that other services do not, both good and bad. So I chose the Marine Corps, right? Because I wanted to get out of Arkansas, I wanted to see the world, and I didn't have money for school, so that would pay for school. And I didn't know what I wanted to study, so hopefully I'd figure it out by the time I went to school, right? So those were my reasons. And fast forward 12 years, I've seen the world, I've traveled the world, I've done a bunch of different jobs, I've had, it's been the adventure of a lifetime, and I've loved most of it, right? Not all of it, but you're not going to love every job for every minute, no matter what anyone tells you. Even the guy who loves his job as an entrepreneur has days he wakes up and says, fuck, why me? So that's the reality, right? There are going to be mornings you wake up in the military and you're like, this sucks. But the vast majority of the time I have been in the military, I have loved it. So without wasting any more of your time, we're going to jump into the pros of being a Marine. And the first one is travel and adventure, right? I saw 13 countries the first 4 years I was in the military. Of those 13 countries, I lived in Okinawa. I spent time in Kyrgyzstan, Afghanistan, Thailand, Guam, Korea. I went through Germany, saw Canada. I went all over the place, right? Now, I spent a lot more time in Okinawa, which is a tropical island in Japan, mainland Japan, like Tokyo, Iwakuni, Fuji, and Afghanistan, which not a recommended vacation destination. I was there for less than vacation type reasons, but honestly, some of the best time that I have spent in the military. It was the closest I've ever been with a group of dudes. There were a few girls, but my platoon was dudes for the most part, and it was the closest group of people I've ever worked with, and just the most, like, as far as a mission for life, it was the most sense of purpose I've ever had, and it was incredible. So the travel and adventures there, right? I have friends who are stationed in Italy, Germany. I have a niece in Germany. All kinds of cool stuff, right? Across the world. So you're gonna get to see the world, and you're gonna get to do it without paying for it. You're gonna get paid to do it. So if you want to stamp your passport, cool, but I'm down for just traveling the world for free and seeing all kinds of stuff, and it's been incredible. And then the adventure side, right? You get to do cool things. Like I've done jungle warfare survival school. I did pre-scout sniper unofficially. I've done infantry machine gun leaders. I've done some cool schools. I've gotten to do some cool things like, jump out of helicopters, like fast roping, Jungle warfare training was awesome, like survival school. Got to do all this cool stuff out in public, like eat a habu snake and kill a goat and live on it and rabbit and whatever, right? Like adventure. But I'm going to spend the whole video talking about this because this is my favorite thing, so I'm going to move on. Pay and benefits. This is probably the most important, and this is one that's true across all the branches. No matter what anyone tells you, the branches all get paid the same, the benefits are the same, it is what it is. Now, I will say there are plenty of service members who gripe about the pay. It's not that bad, really. Like, you got to think about it this way. You might make $40,000 a year, but you're not taxed on your housing allowance. You're not taxed on your food allowance. You're not taxed on all the benefits you receive. You're only taxed on that 40. So like right now, I live in San Diego County. I'm gonna get taxed on like $42,000, $45,000 worth of my income this year or something like that, depending on what it goes up to. But at the same time, it would take me almost $110,000 annual income to live in the same way I'm living right now. Because my $36,000 and some change, probably $37,000 that I'm making in housing allowance isn't taxed. So that's not even factored into my W-2. My W-2 says 45, but that's right there, that's over 80. And then my food allowance. People don't think about that part when they talk about military pay. So military pay is actually really good. As far as benefits, health, dental, like medical, life insurance, that's at a great rate, and you can even keep it afterwards for a period of time. Just really cool opportunities there to make sure that your financial foundation are set. In fact, when people join the military, they almost instantly achieve financial freedom, like level 1, where it's like, I can cover all my bills right now. It might not be through passive income, it might be through the military, but if your finances are a shamble, it's because you went and bought stuff and added to that expense column after you joined the military. So, in fact, your credit card debt can even be wiped down to 6% through the Service Member Civil Relief Act, but that's a whole nother story. Look, finances is great, benefits is great, pay is good. Find me another job right out of high school, right? Like you leave high school, you join a career where you're getting more than median income, free housing, free food, like clothing allowance, guaranteed pay raises every year for the first 4 years, every other year after that, promotions as long as you don't do anything stupid, and 30 days paid vacation every year, and you get to travel, and then when you're done and you quit the job, free college? Like, find me a career that does that for you. Please, if you know one, put it in the comments. I'd love to hear about it. I don't think you're gonna find one, so that's definitely a pro. All right, kind of alluded to it already, but the GI Bill. So you can do free college while you're in through tuition assistance, but once you get out of the military, the GI Bill will continue to pay for college. You will get a housing allowance and all your college paid for. So for me, right now, if I went back to Missouri, which is where I'm planning on going back, I would be getting all my college paid for, but the whole time I'm in school, I will also be getting a housing allowance. So I don't actually need to have a job because that's enough money to live. So I could theoretically go to school full time, have enough money for room and board, and probably some food too, so I could focus on my studies instead of having to work 2 jobs, to make ends meet, or 1 job to work my way through college or whatever, like some students, and I'm not gonna leave with debt. People leave college these days with crippling amounts of debt, and then they try to fix the system for something they took, but that's another point. But they leave college with crippling amounts of debt, and they had to work all the way through, so they didn't even get the same grades and learn as much as they would have if they were able to focus. So the GI Bill will allow you to focus all your energy on what you want to learn at school and leave without debt. That's incredible. That's just amazing. Another major pro for the Marine Corps and the military in general is self-reliance. You leave the nest, so to speak. When a young bird learns to fly, it's kicked out of the nest and it learns to fly, and then it goes off on its own and it does its thing. No longer under the house, right? If you go to college, that's not necessarily the same thing. Not to say college isn't a bad thing, or is a bad thing. It's not. And you go to school, maybe you go out of state, so you are away from family, but you may still come back home and live with your parents for the summer and December, and they may still give you an allowance or pay for school or whatever, right? Not that that's necessarily bad, but you're not truly self-reliant. When you join the military, you're instantly self-reliant. You're getting paid, you're getting housing and all that stuff. Like, you're still obviously relying on your job for money and stuff. You're not completely independent, but you're making your own decisions. You are learning how to handle your finances. You are learning how to do this. You decide if you want to go home. You have a place to live, so you don't have to go home during the summer. You have a residence, you have a job, you have a career and benefits, and you can take care of yourself. And so you are essentially taking yourself out of the nest to go grow up. which I think is huge, which leads into confidence. I do not know very many timid service members, and especially Marines, or a little too much sometimes, and that's okay, right? Like, that is not the end of the world, but confidence is huge in life. I mean, think about a job interview. Who are you gonna go after? The guy who has the same resume but like stares at the floor and twiddles his thumb the whole time you're talking to him, or the guy who can stare you in the face, hold a conversation, is confident, and has the same criteria? Ta-da! The reality is the service member generally has better credentials too, because they were doing stuff, like they have work experience and life experience, and they've got the confidence, sure, but then they've got all this other experience from doing that job in the military, or doing leadership roles in the military. So it puts us at an unfair advantage. Now, that doesn't mean you're guaranteed to get a good job, but it's a great advantage. So understand that confidence is huge, but so is everything that goes with it. Obviously, fitness is a big piece. You leave the Marine Corps boot camp, you're in great shape, and then the Marine Corps is going to try to keep you in shape for as long as they can, right? Like, now, there are obviously going to be injuries along the way at some point, but you're going to stay in shape for the most part, right? The Marine Corps is the fittest branch of the military, despite that hilarious video from years ago with the Air Force claiming they had the most fit people graduating from boot camp. But I digress. Look, you're going to stay in shape. You're going to literally get paid to work out, and you're going to have incredible gyms and facilities with great trainers, and it's just a really cool benefit to get all of that while in the military. The next piece is leadership, which is huge. Being able to be a leader will serve you very well throughout life. No matter what you choose to do, leadership is incredibly important. And the Marine Corps does a very good job of setting you up to be a leader. It puts you in leadership positions from day one. Like, no matter what, you get to your unit, sure, maybe you may not be in charge of anything right away, but like somebody else gets to the unit right after you, you're in charge of them. You get promoted, you're in charge of more people, all the way up. And you're only ever in charge of like 4 or 5 people at a time, and then they're in charge of more people and more people and more people, until you might be overseeing like 120, 200 Marines, but you only have a few direct contacts that work all the way through that. So it's decentralized command, and it really helps you hone those leadership skills. So it will keep you out of your comfort zone almost constantly, but without setting you up to fail. And I will tell you right now, I was a Boy Scout, I was an Eagle Scout, I was on sports teams, I had leadership opportunities before the Marine Corps, but none of them compare to what I've been able to learn through being a Marine. People will only grow outside of their comfort zone, and the Marine Corps will continually throw you into new and challenging leadership opportunities to pull you out of your comfort zone and really help you embody that leader that you want to be. All right, now last but certainly not least, this is the biggest pro potentially to the Marine Corps, is Esprit de Corps. And now Esprit de Corps it's Latin, the spirit of the Corps, but this is what makes the Marine Corps special. This is our special sauce. I mean, yeah, with travel, like, we're the only branch of the military that guards embassies, so there's some unique opportunities there, and there's some other unique stuff throughout the military, but being a Marine is the unique thing, right? Like, being in the Navy is great, but being a Navy SEAL is better. Now, I'm not saying the Marine Corps is the Navy SEAL of the service branches, but it's a recognizable name. If you're in the Navy, people say they were in the Navy, or they were in the Army, or they were in the Air Force, or they were a sailor, a seaman, yes, that's actually a term. I'm not, don't, haha. An airman, a soldier, whatever. But if you're a Marine, you're a Marine. You're not in the Marines. You are a Marine, and you're not, I don't know, a Marine man. I don't even know what that would be. An amphib man. You are a Marine. It's a title. And it's a very recognizable title. It's like going to a great college, or going to a great, being a member of a fraternity or whatever. Like, that name, anyone who was a Marine will remember that. You are a Marine for life once you leave and graduate boot camp and you've earned that Eagle, Globe, and Anchor to become a Marine. And so the title Marine and the spirit and culture around that is incredible. You're getting indoctrinated into quite possibly the largest fraternity in the world. We call it the Gun Club. But you're joining the Marine Corps, and you're getting that brotherhood and sisterhood for life, right? Like, the Marine Corps is just a great group of people to be around. Sure, there's assholes everywhere, but it's just a great group of people to belong to, and it's really going to help you out in life to have that on your resume, that you are a Marine, or you were, a Marine, or however you want to word it. And so that Esprit de Corps, that culture that we breed, is extremely, extremely just awesome. Like, that's probably the biggest pro for me, is because between all the other services, that's what separates us. That's the reason I can walk through a crowd of people and point out like Marine, 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 Vice, like, oh, military. Like, no, you can tell who was a Marine. They carry themselves differently. There is a difference. And so I think the culture of the Marine Corps is absolutely one of the greatest pros. Now, I told you this was going to be an honest review, so there are cons to joining the Marine Corps as well. And so here's a few of them. The first is it's hard, right? It's not the easiest branch of the military to join. Boot camp's longer, boot camp's harder, PT, like the requirements for physical training and physical fitness are harder. The height weight standards are a little harder. Like there's no way to say this without sounding like an asshole. You can be fatter in other branches of the military and it won't end your career. Like the Marine Corps, you have to maintain a higher standard of fitness and a higher level of like your weight for your height, right? So that's a downside to some people. Some people are hefty and they'd rather, you know, I know it is what it is, right? Like I have struggled with that through my career. Whenever I get injured, I gain weight. Anyway, that's a con, right? Like the fact that it's harder is not exactly what everybody wants. Now for me, I love the challenge, so right on, bring it on, but that's still a con. It's not easy. One of the other very large cons is you're gonna be away from family and friends. Like you join the Marine Corps and you leave the nest. It's not like, you know, you go to college, you come back every summer and you see everyone. Now, that sounds like a con, but you know, over time, I'll tell you, you actually prefer the people that you serve with in the Marine Corps and the culture than going home. It almost gets to a point where you go home because you have to see family, not because you want to see all your friends, right? Like you evolved where I only have a few really good friends from high school that I still talk to, but I have Marines that are just brothers or sisters that I will talk to for the rest of my life, right? Like, so yes, it's a con that you're getting away from family, but there's a plus side to it as well, and you're actually getting to be like you're joining a new family. So you got to look at it, it's a perspective thing. Not easy to leave the nest though, absolutely. So if that's really like a huge concern for you, maybe the reserves is a good branch of service because you join the Marine Corps Reserve, you go to boot camp, you do all this other stuff. When you come back for the reserves, you stay local. So you're in the Marine Reserves, you're getting your job training, you get to do stuff every now and then, you can still deploy, you can still do all the fun side of the Marine Corps, but you're home more often. You know, that could be a great option for you. You know, definitely take a look at it. I was thinking of some other cons, and the one that popped into my head very quickly was wear and tear on your body. Look, I'm 30, and I'm not wearing it right now, but I have a hearing aid from when Afghanistan. I don't need to dig into stories and sound like I'm trying to, I've had knee surgery, I've had other random surgeries, I've got shoulder that was fractured in the Marine Corps. I've got a foot that, you know, I had my arch crushed under a trailer at one point, and it's okay, but it hurts, you know. Back pains, like they say you age in the Marine Corps like 7 years for every 1 normal year, and I didn't believe that at first because I was healthy, but as I get older, I realize like, oh yeah, the wear and tear is real. Like it is a real thing, and anyone who tells you they've never been injured or they don't hurt, I don't know, maybe they're just trying to be tough. Look, you're gonna wear down in any branch of the military, but the Marine Corps especially, you're gonna do a lot of hikes, you're gonna do a lot of intense physical things, and your body, it's gonna take a toll. Now you're gonna be compensated for that, right? Like as long as you document everything, you're gonna get disability pay for anything that the Marine Corps, the military caused. You're gonna have VA benefits where you go to medical, they take care of you. Like it's not like you're gonna get injured and, you know, broken and decrepit and then they're just gonna leave you hanging. Like you're gonna be compensated, you're gonna be taken care of. So it's really not the end of the world. Just be aware that your body is gonna, there's a little bit of abuse there, right? So love-hate thing, I like the challenge, but yeah, definitely taken a toll over the years. It may be hard, this is the third con, to have a family or a significant other, right? Like if you're the type of person who really, like family's everything, you want to spend every waking moment with your family, there's gonna be times when you're off training or when you're working long hours or maybe you're on duty on the weekend or you deploy, well, you won't get to spend all that time. You're gonna miss some baseball games. You're gonna miss out on some things with family, maybe a birthday, maybe your birthday, you know, who knows? Or you'd be like me right now where I'm getting out of the military in the near future, going into the reserves, and so, which is another pro, you have options throughout your career. But my wife and family's already back in Missouri getting prepared, which is a choice, and that's fine, but it's not easy being apart, right? Like, and that's, if I had been in Missouri working all this time, that wouldn't have been something that I had to do. So pros and cons, right? Like there are gonna be sacrifices that you have to make for your family, and there are gonna be sacrifices that your family has to make for you. So understand that that is a con. It's not always convenient. You need to explain to people when you're getting married, like I'm in the Marine Corps and I love you guys, but the Marine Corps, you know, is going to trump, like not trump family. Like there's no nice way to say that, but like you need to understand that I am a Marine first and foremost. So Marine Corps joke is, if the Marine Corps had wanted you to have a wife, they'd have issued you one. Not anymore. The military is getting very good about helping you out with family and making sure you get time with them. And there's a lot of really great community outreach things for your family. So it's really improved over the years, but just know that is a reality. You're going to have to make sacrifices with your family, or they will. You may not have a whole lot of time for yourself. I think this is really not a huge con to the Marine Corps. Any job that you work 40 or 50 hours a week, you're gonna not have time for yourself. And the reality is just you need to focus on being able to manage your time better. So you need to focus on managing your time and learning how to use the time you have rather than focus on the fact that you're working. Because like that's the whole reason for the Military Millionaire podcast and everything else, is helping people learn how to build wealth so that they can retire and step away and then they control their schedule. And then you'll still be busy because you'll fill your schedule with other stuff, but that's neither here nor there. You need to understand that there are some challenges there. Like, it's not always going to be sunshine and rainbows. It's going to take time. But if you manage your time correctly and wisely, that's not really a huge deal. The final con I'm going to talk about is that there's definitely an adjustment to joining the Marine Corps. It's not an easy transition where you're like, oh yeah, I'm going to start working at this coffee shop tomorrow. Oh, hey, look, I showed up at the coffee shop. I learned a little bit about coffee, and now I go home and then keep going to the coffee shop, and oh, I don't like it, I quit. It's a big change, depending on how you grew up. Like, especially if you grew up not being very independent, right? Like you had one of those helicopter parents. It can be a huge adjustment for you to suddenly be completely free, right? And so you're gonna need to learn how to deal with all that, but I still think that's a good thing. But the con is, if you don't like it, like you signed the contract, so you're still in the Marine Corps for that 4 or 5 years. So you need to be okay with the fact that it's gonna be a rough, not a rough adjustment, but an adjustment. And it might be a difficult one depending on what you came from, but you need to understand that that's okay. And that you need to just embrace the suck, as we say, but embrace it, because yeah, you're gonna do things in the Marine Corps that don't always make sense to you, and they're not always easy, and you know, yada yada yada. I mean, you're gonna quote do dumb shit sometimes, and you're gonna be like, oh my gosh, but there's a reason for those things, and you just need to be okay with that, because it's not always easy, right? Like, there's going to be a bit of an adjustment there. So just understand what you're getting into, do your homework, and then ultimately be okay with your decision, because it's your decision. Like, no one else made it for you. So do it, enjoy it, live it up. If you don't like it, get out after your first 4 or 5 years, depending on your contract. But just make the best out of it. Don't get so wrapped up around, oh, woe is me, that you waste that 4 years. Really enjoy it and use it to better you for the future. To wrap all this up, I want to talk about 4 considerations that you need to make before deciding to join the Marine Corps, right? So we've done pros, we've done cons, but here are 4 other considerations and questions that you need to ask yourself to really decide if this is right for you. The first is, are you willing to commit 4 or 5 years of your life? Going to college, people say it's a commitment, but it's not. You can totally just drop out. Joining the Marine Corps is actually a commitment. You can't just join out. You need to be willing to give like the ultimate sacrifice and die, right? Like, that could happen. Hopefully it won't, and it's rare, but it could happen, right? Like, ask anyone who's been around the Marine Corps long enough, and they've probably seen that happen, right? Like, I've known people who didn't make it back. It is what it is. But I mean, they died doing what they loved and serving their country. So honestly, like, is there a better way to die than with the honor on the battlefield? I don't know. Let's go back to Sparta and let's see. But you need to be okay with the fact that you're making a 4 or 5 year commitment. So if you don't really enjoy it during that time, that's fine, but make the most out of it while you're in. Don't be that person who gets in and then they think it's bad and then they just, woe is me, oh my God, Marine Corps sucks all the time. Like, no, you made the decision. You did. No one else made it. So make that commitment and stick to it. You need to be able to. So are you willing or ready to commit to 4 years of your life? It's a big commitment. It's also the best thing I've ever done in my fucking life. Consideration number 2 is, are you ready to take extreme ownership? And essentially what that means is you're going to be on your own. So every single thing that happens in your life, you need to be able to take ownership of. Now, ultimately, there are going to be some things that you don't agree with, or times that you get told to do something in the Marine Corps that you're like, oh my gosh. And so maybe it's not always your fault, but you joined the Marine Corps, so it's your responsibility to make the best of it. So even if you get dealt a crappy hand or go to a unit you didn't want to go to, make the best of it. I promise you that if you take ownership for everything, you'll exceed very, very fast in the Marine Corps. If you take ownership for, oh, I got out of shape, let me get back in shape, not, oh, someone else's fault, right? You'll do well. If you just take ownership, you signed up, you joined the Marine Corps, make the best out of it. So are you willing to take extreme ownership? Consideration number 3, and this one's gonna seem like a simple yes, you need to think about it before you answer it. Are you ready to be a man or a woman? And what I mean by that is you're going to be on your own. Like, this is you. You need to suck up, or whatever they say for women. I don't know. I'm not trying to be sexist. But look, you need to deep down grow into a person that's worth knowing, like a good person, right? And you need to grow as this person. You need to be willing to do that. Now, I know this sounds like a simple, yes, I'm ready to be a man or a woman, but look, it's easy to say that until you're responsible for everything. There are plenty of people who would consider themselves a man or a woman, you guys know what I mean, and are completely codependent on other people for their success. And they're just a total victim about everything, right? Like, oh, well, if someone would pay my student debt because I didn't get my degree, so that's your fault. That's no one else's fault. Oh, well, you know, no. You are ultimately responsible for the outcomes of your life. So you need to step up, become a man or woman, and acknowledge that you're making these decisions. The time is now, and it's for you. And if you're not ready for that, that's something that you need to come to terms with and you need to understand. Like, if you are not ready to become a man or become a woman and you just want to play victim for the rest of your life, that's fine. That's totally your decision. But you need to understand that the Marine Corps is going to turn you into a man or a woman. It's going to turn you into an adult. And so if you're not ready for that and you want to just like suckle on someone's teat for the rest of your life, then that's fine, but don't join the Marine Corps. All right, consideration number 4. Are you ready for the adventure of a lifetime? And I don't really know if I'm going to elaborate on this. I mean, the Marine Corps is the adventure of a lifetime. And I love it. Like, for those of you who've been following my channel for a little while, you know that I've talked about joining the reserves because, you know, I've got a lot of stuff going on the side that I really want to pursue. But I'm not leaving the Marine Corps because I absolutely love the Marine Corps. There's the Esprit de Corps, there's the people you hang out with, there's the brotherhood and sisterhood, and the Marine Corps is a different beast. There are definitely some bad things that come along with that, as with any job. But there are way more good things that come along with that. And I have yet to meet anybody ever in my entire life who has regretted being a Marine. Now, I know people who didn't enjoy their time in the Marine Corps, but they did not enjoy or regret joining the Marines, if that makes sense. Like, you could have a crappy job and you might leave the job and be like, wow, I should have never joined that job. I don't know anyone who's ever left the Marine Corps and gone, should have never done that. With the exception of maybe some people who, you know, got in and got like in trouble right away or did some illegal stuff or whatever. And I really don't care about their opinions because it's not the Marine Corps that you hate, it's yourself for making those bad decisions. But I digress. Look, Marine Corps is a great opportunity, it's a great place. But ultimately, whether you decide to join the Marine Corps or not, if you join the military at all, awesome. I hope, you know, let me know down in the comments. Like, if this video helped you make a decision, awesome. If not, awesome, but let me know what you thought. But look, if you decide to join the military, whether it's the Marine Corps or not, any branch of service, definitely go from this video over to some of my finance videos and check out my videos on the thrift savings plan. That's like the one thing I wish I could tell every service member is like, look, you join the military, understand your TSP, especially now with the new blended retirement, understand the thrift savings plan and start putting money away in there. I would have at least double, if not triple, the amount of money that I have in there right now, which literally means I'm missing out on millions of dollars because I did not play my cards right the first 5, 6, 7 years I was in the Marine Corps. Now I'm making up for that as much as I can, but you can't make up for the lost time. Like, compound interest is a very powerful thing, and if you can maximize that thing when you're young, you will be a millionaire no matter what you do. Anyway, look, great opportunity. Definitely check out some videos on that. Look, I hope you enjoyed this video. A lot of my stuff is about military finance, military real estate investing, using your VA loan, and if you like that stuff, awesome. Join the channel, subscribe, like the video, whatever. If you don't like that stuff and you want to see more military specific content, obviously I can talk about it. You made it this far in the video, so let me know what you thought. If you want to see more military specific or Marine Corps specific content, I would love to do it. This is fun videos for me, and I hope you got something out of this. Have a great fucking day.